As implied by the simplistic title, the in-game story is essentially the same as Capcom's very first Biohazard game, all the way back on the original PlayStation, but has been updated to accompany a modern audience. Contextually, a singular player is offered the choice between playing a Chris Redfield scenario or Jill Valentine scenario. Both characters inherit their gameplay differences from the originally 1996 game, while bestowed additional gameplay differences via its remake. At the start, a choice of 3 difficulties, very easy, easy, and normal, will already be given to the player, but as soon as they beat this game for the first time, regardless of scenario, and consequentially create a save file to reflect that completed playthrough, you'll be provided a 4th difficulty setting, hard to choose from. Capcom's remake of the first Biohazard game will have the player exposed to physically contiguous, yet marginal environments in a wider context of the Arklay Mountains. For that matter, the Arklay Mansions, where you'll begin to play the game on either scenario. All in-game environments from the originally 1996 game have been restructured to accompany additional rooms and new pathways. The Biohazard remake includes a mixture of completely intact puzzles from the originally 1996 game, repurposed versions of puzzles from the originally 1996 game, partially remade puzzles that otherwise serve the same purpose as in the originally 1996 game, and completely new puzzles. All enemies from the originally 1996 game have returned in the context of updated models, animations, and voice clips. But the remake introduces a few enemies that weren't in the originally 1996 game. Neither the 2002 publication of this remake or the HD republication of said remake contain unlockable minigames, but this isn't to say the game itself's deficient in unlockable content, though. When the remake was first published, it already had a fair share of unlockable content. 1. Hard difficulty. 2. A few unique weapons automatically set to infinite ammo. 3. Closet key that can open the costume room. 4. Some unlockable costumes rewarded by multiple playthroughs. 5. Real survival mode, which is automatically set to hard difficulty, but more challenging than a normal playthrough of hard difficulty. 6. One dangerous zombie feature. As far as the 2015 HD republication's concerned, Capcom sweetened the deal via 2 more unlockable costumes. The HDified compilation lives up to the Origins label, not only because it contains 2 fundamental chapters of the Biohazard series, but for that matter, Sony's PlayStation brands the original host to Capcom's aforementioned video game series, even though you're also welcome to get the HD republications on Xbox One, Steam, or on Nintendo Switch. The compilation's an ideal way to alleviate the 10 plus years of Nintendo exclusivity that subjected these 2 particular chapters. Even though some people say a Nintendo GameCube pad's the best way to experience an action-adventure game, that statement's deeply flawed. Because even though both Biohazard Zero and Capcom's remake of the first Biohazard game fit the action-adventure criteria, I'd argue a Nintendo GameCube pad's far from ideal for these particularly 2 games. 1. Long after personally playing region-locked copies of Biohazard Zero and Capcom's first Biohazard remake under the Resident Evil label on an NTSC US edition of Nintendo's GameCube system, I almost completely don't remember how their controls were mapped out on said system. 2. Nintendo's GameCube pad looks like it was designed by a CEO who has tiny hands. 3. Controls that work for Nintendo's own action-adventure games, such as The Legend of Zelda, Metroid Prime, and so on, aren't always ideal for action-adventure games made by third-party companies.